My most trusted huskarl, who is, however, now not a player character, is Olafsson. He is he has been good these last few years. He is a capable warrior. He is his Vikinging has begun getting better, especially with a little bit of help from a little bit of advice from me and the like. And he's brought great prosperity to the village. So he is a trusted ally of mine. That would be that relationship. And the second relationship, which I felt I just had to take, was that I have. This one has been touched by the gods, which is clearly Gertha. And I'm not entirely certain what we're going to do with that yet. But
Now, who's
Baldur.
Girtha? This is a new character?
Wait,
You mean
that's
Gurney?
Gurney. Oh yeah, you call her
Okay.
Gurney. Gurney. I'll just call her Gurney too. Gurney.
Okay.
I guess
Yeah.
I said that wrong when I introduced her.
So yeah,
I've just been going with it, man. And apparently everyone spells it differently. But
eh,
the only person who's spelling that I care about is me. So
it should be. But it is clear to Baldur that she has been touched by the gods. She is clearly a force of change in this world, and somebody who is he both respects and worries about a little bit. But she clearly has yet to her role in this is not yet done. And if I remember correctly, which one of you was going to play the farmer?
I will be playing Grim Ulfson, who is a man who also farms.
Yeah. Grim Ulfson is the man I consider to be one of the top men in the village.
really, top men. We've got top men on this problem.
Top men on this problem. Yeah.
See Grim
I've-
Olsen with a stick prodding a sheep.
I think they're in the field,
Top
just
men.
like digging dirt. Top,
Digging
top
dirt.
men.
Top men.
Top
Right?
man.
In the old days, Baldur might have put his hopes into a more warrior-like man. He has come to realize that a man like Grim Ulfson is the man who is going to build the future of this country. He, a good, honest, hard-working farmer, as far as I know, anyway. So we'll find out if that's true or not. But I place my ambitions in men like him, and particularly him. That is. And as for my final one, I have chosen to, on the fly, since you just said that Freki has started a successful business venture, and I have decided to say that I helped him start it up, and he owes me for his successful business venture, and he may have been thinking about, you know, taking his business elsewhere, going big and all, but the fact that he owes me, I sort of try and keep him here because the town needs him, and I sort of, without being too much of a dick about it, try and keep him here.
So what's the name of that relationship?
Basically, this one owes me.
Okay. Okay.
And
That's
yeah,
your 4
and
relationships.
that's my 4 relationships. And would you like me to say what my new
Oh yeah, we need
abilities
we
are?
need stats. We need
It's
abilities.
stats.
You gotta tell us everything, man.
Yes, he has become even. He has become. His stats are very similar to what he was. He's still a very wise man with +2 to versed, but he has become even less warlike and healthy than he was. He's currently sitting at -1 to young. He is at +1 to gendered as he was, but the fates have seen that seen in him promise, in him trying to help other people, and have granted him a little bit better luck. So I'm at sitting at +0 instead of a minus in weird. He looks much like his younger version, only he's a little bit his beard now which is fully gray is nice and groomed. He bears his face still has a little bit of that old calculating look, but you can also sense a bit of pride in his accomplishments in the village, and his body is sort of the appearance apparently spidery. I'm not entirely certain what that is, but that sounded like it suited. That's sort of like really, really, lean, even more lean than before, right? Not that was at least the one of the options for in the Go the handbook.
Okay.
So I'm guessing non-native English here that a spidery body is very, very sort of thin and lean, right?
I would. You know what? We're talking about Game of Thrones. We're talking about spidery folks. Littlefinger, dog. Littlefinger's spidery as a motherfucker.
Okay, yeah. Baldur looks kind
It's
of
me,
like
Littlefinger. Gold and shit.
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah.
I've only watched the season 2 stuff. But in the books, he's pretty much still just like gold and shit. Yeah.
yeah.
Nobility.
Littlefinger. Yeah, that's how I imagined Baldur looking 5 years ago. Littlefinger,
Now
basically.
your Littlefinger.
Now he's
old.
he's slightly older, Littlefinger.
Silver Fox.
Silver Fox Littlefinger. Yeah. And now I have this awesome temple. I have claim to some consecrated ground, a grove of trees, a small field with a worship pole, little building so where we can provide offerings to the gods, and the title of Godi.
What god have you dedicated yourself to?
Odin, the god of wisdom.
I thought it was going to be Loki.
That was the original plan, but
Well-
he reconsecrated the temple after a few
Alright.
years of seeing that how his actions were hurting those around him. We're taking him on a character arc here.
He felt like he should rip out his one eye to save the light of the whole world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
basically. And he is the religious and judicial leader of the town, which gives me a +1 against any interlopers, enemies, or undesirables while I'm in my temple.
Well, when we go to the map, I'm not saying we should do it yet, but when we go to the map, we should definitely put it on the map.
Yeah.
I like how like Baldur's Longhouse and Grimm's Pad are all on there. Now there's a forest and shit. Holy fuck, somebody's been working.
We've been busy.
Also, Un the Crone's house is apparently a bunch of cigarettes. I'm looking at it, that's what I see. I see just like a bunch of cigarettes sticking out the top
That's
of it.
true. It does look
Yeah,
kind of
you're-
like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and finally the choice I got as
There's a
Godis
wind
always
blowing.
start with a temple. I have chosen the elder ability.
Okay.
So when anybody comes to me for advice and I give them advice, I gain 1 bond with them, and if they act on my advice, they gain +1 forward. There's no role to it. It's just going to be me trying to come up with a clever solution for their problems. Let's see how good I am at
Sounds
that.
like you want your move back where you can be like, this was my cunning plan all along to start a 3-way battle.
I like
Just
that
a
move.
little bit, only now I'm going to use my powers for good.
Yeah,
Baltus,
sure.
Baltus,
We'll see at
Baltus-
the end of the character arc.
Right?
Yeah.
Saga of Baldur Odinson. It's happening right now, guys.
Hmm.
All right. Well, Bertie Hallid daughter. Let's hear a little
Hello.
bit about you.
All right. So 5 years is a long time, and Olaf has retired as a player character. I'm sure Arthur's concocted some evil, villainous mischief for him, but we'll see. Bertie,
Obvious.
however, has been quite busy. Last we left her, they were in the longhouse fighting over whether or not she would be able to marry Olaf. And over the years, she has done that. She has spent a lot of time with Olafsson Jr., and that has sort of carved the path for her to become a free woman, as it were. And she's married Olaf, and they have had two other children, both of which she is somewhat doting on. And she has taken up sides with Olaf Olafsson Jr. in his desire to not be a Viking, but instead be a smith. And he wishes to be a smith and has been sort of spending all of his time at the forge with the local smith. And she's been supportive of that. Now that Olaf has two other sons, he's much more okay with that because his eldest is now, I think I said 8, and is 7 and old enough to carry his throwing axe. And he has been seen around town boasting about how Thorgi, his middle son, will be able to carry his Dane axe by the time he's 7.
Just like Olaf Olafsson did.
Oh yeah, he's 5 now. My bad. Thorgi's 4, almost 5. Horgi is 3. Yeah, so he's been boasting that by the time he's 7, he'll be able to carry the Dane axe for his father.
So, just to jump in real quick about
Mhm.
the smithing thing, I feel like there's probably not a smithery in this village yet, unless Grim took that as one of his things.
So I can't take that
Not
until
yet,
I actually
right.
progress.
So
yeah.
I think that Olaf Olafsson Jr. probably has to travel, like for a day and then like go do stuff there for like I don't know 4 or 5 days and then spend like the weekend back at home. Like he
Okay.
has to live at the forge basically,
Sure.
the next
He's
village down.
okay.
Probably back over at the village that you guys caused the farmstead wars at.
I was gonna say, are there any other villages that he could go to other
Probably.
than that one?
If there are, why don't you tell me about one of them?
Let me find my town name generator. Yeah, so he's been going over there, and he's been meeting with their smith.
What's that Smith's name?
Let's see. Well,
Smith name. Look back.
right?
And there's a reference.
Let's see. He would probably be a male human. Probably
I would
Norse.
assume so.
It would seem to be
In
human.
this universe, yes, I assume it's
Yeah.
human.
Are you using the Don John name generator?
I am. I'm using the random generator.
Are
Gardy Thedrison. Here we go. Let me throw that in roll 20 for you.
I got
Boom.
it already.
Smith.
All right. And what
Gardy.
farmstead does he hail from, or is he from a larger actual village? I know I've said village a couple times, but we haven't seen an actual village yet. It's basically just been 30 or
Sure.
less people living together.
Sure, that seems like a good question. I don't know. What do you guys think would be nearby? Are we a reclusive backwater town on the edge of nowhere, or are we sort of outside of a larger area?
I think we would have to not be reclusive because our origin is in kind of raiding. We don't really have the ability to make things on our own, so we have the ability to come and get money, and we can bring back kind of what our Vikings have pillaged, but we still need to. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
We have to be able to buy stuff. So we probably have a good trade relationship with at least one or two other villages. Probably not the one that we started a civil war within, but
Well, we're working on that.
yeah,
We're gonna try and make friends.
we were a pretty combative group, I think, for the first couple of play sessions. So
Yeah, we
we got
were.
to
Just a
work that
little
out for
bit.
us.
All right.
Okay. Tell us about your relationships.
All right. So I have a number of relationships. So Bertie, during the blood feud with what was their name? Do
Thora
the Thormundson.
Elstadter.
Thormundsons? I thought it was Thormundsons.
Thora Elstadter?
Is that the?
That was the woman who killed Un the Crone.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't she under the Thormundsons?
Oh, yeah. Ingolf's.
Yeah.
Ingolf and
So,
Ingold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was in their village.
yeah, she was in their village. So wasn't that the village?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're dead
Yeah.
now.
Right. So yeah, I guess you're right. So anyway, during the blood feud, she took up a spear alongside of her husband to defend the town, and since she was already a free woman at this point, she has taken the role of shield maiden. And when doing that, she saved Hildred Steindotter. Steindotter?
Yep.
Not sure.
Sure.
Grimm's wife from being carried off to the other town. And so she has the relationship I saved their life with her. Um, yeah, she's taken a strong role, and as such, her stats sort of reflect that. She has +0 to versed, +3 to young, -1 to gendered, which I'm assuming means she tends to follow the traditional gendered roles because she'll roll poorly when going against them. um, that's the only thing I can think a negative would mean.
It means you
And
don't act like a woman because
Yeah.
if you have shitty gendered and you try to make a womanly role, because you still have access to all the female moves,
right.
you'll do fucking terrible at them.
Oh, okay. So she tends to be a little bit more
Manish.
mannish. Yeah, all right. There we go. -1 gendered and +1 to weird. So she's at least slightly versed in
What
that.
does she look like? What is her appearance? I don't know if we covered that.
We didn't really. She's young and youthful with blonde hair, long blonde hair, in a braid, and yeah, she much like Olaf wears a smile. She is a very vivacious and vigorous woman, sort of full of life, as her +3 would indicate. She's wearing her standard warm woolen clothes and a cloak made of animal skin, and she's pretty typical for the tall blonde Viking sort. Yeah. So her other relationships, she has I would never betray them with Baldur because much as Olaf has grown closer to Baldur over the years, so has Bertie, and she trusts him immensely. She thinks he's leading the town in the right direction now, and they wouldn't have been there if he hadn't been there to stop all of those shenanigans. Yeah. Much like her husband, she's not very trusting of Haiti Holdbasin, and she has the relationship I am wary of them. And when she's around him, she tends to be a little bit more reserved and sort of less full of herself and more watchful, which is noticeable. And then for her last relationship, they need my help. She chose Olaf Olafsson Jr. because she still believes that, much like the reason she was able to marry Olaf Sr., Olaf Olafsson Jr. is part of the key to her happiness. So she is endeavoring to help him with his life's goals.
All right, cool. What moves did you take, Shield Maiden? I'm guessing you picked Full of Life.
I did. I took the two most boring ones, which are just additional bonuses to youth. So Full of Life gives you +1 to young, and then she can choose any male role. And so, following the Huskarl tradition of her husband, she got another +1 to young, which is
So my
raw strength.
reading of
Whoa.
Full of Life is that you can take it twice.
No, it says to the maximum of +3, which means if you have a bunch of different things that give you plus to young, you can never go over +3.
Yeah, but I mean that's my point. Is as opposed to using
No,
your
because just like what he just did was to take multiple ways to get there.
Yeah, I think you're wrong. I think you can only take each move once.
You can only take it once.
okay.
Yeah. So you can do what
Well,
I did, which is sort of double dip stats wise, but yeah, you can never get it above +3.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could give it a
Well-
+3 if. I mean, as soon as you start getting to +4 and +4 or 5 in this game, you literally can't fail rolls.
Well, yeah, I don't think any of them can go over to.
No, they're
th-
all
because
capped
of
at
that.
3.
Yeah. I think pretty much all of them say
The
that.
only exception, I think, is the battle roll, which you need a 12 on to succeed.
Oh, okay. Well, so yeah. Anyway, so she took both of those borrowing, like I said, from her husband and the blood
She's very
feud.
youthful.
Yes, she is very youthful. But yeah, less experience. She's younger than Olaf Senior, and like I said, she's I guess running against the sort of female roles and the traditions there.
Well, no one
Which
minds
is-
it that much, but, you know.
Right, which I was going to say sort of falls in line with the Shield Maiden to be expected, right? She's
No one treats you like a man, of course. You could never have honor.
right, exactly. Just a woman after all. All right, yeah. So that's where Bertie stands right now.
Again, just want to remind people this whole game is about gender roles.
Yep.
If you just walked in here for the first time, we're not
We're gonna-
a group of sexists.
We're gonna look like total dicks,
Oh,
but
God,
we aren't,
yeah.
honestly.
All right. Yeah. So I would ask you about Hildred Steindaughter, Bertie, but I think I'm gonna leave that to her husband.
I think you should.
Yeah, because that's where it originated from.
I did.
We don't really have that many new characters coming this week, except for Hildred and Sigurd. So why don't you tell us about Grim Ulfson, this dark, mysterious stranger who's walked out of the wilds and changed the fate of the village?
So I
Right,
kind of took
fun
a
thing.
step back after Un's demise last week and decided I was going to play less of a calculating character and more one a little bit more basic and more subdued. Rather than kind of thinking up ways to screw everyone else out of what, screw everyone else so that she can get what she needs. Basically, Grim Ulfson is a character that works towards his own goals and very much takes responsibility for both his place in the village and his role as provider for his family. So along those lines, the relationships that he has, his wife is Hildred Steindaughter. He has a child, has two children actually. One of them, I've only listed one as a relationship. Just I don't know if that says something terrible about Grimulfson, but Sigurd Grimson is his child. And I think it's very central to this character that he is he tries very hard to provide for his family and do it honorably. And I have a feeling that's going to come back to bite him because that's really like he has two very conflicting roles that he kind of sees as he is both the provider and he's also a very honorable man. And I have a feeling at some point he's going to have to make a choice between the two. He works in the field. He's a man's man. He's actually mostly a lumberjack. He spends a lot of time going out and harvesting wood. He tends cattle for food to provide for his family. And
You provide for everybody, man.
well, yeah, probably at this point I do. So he is very much he very much fills the role that is expected of him, and so along those lines, he has his gendered at +2. So I mean, his stats thus far, he's +1 versed. He's getting on in his years. He's had relatively poor luck with children at this point. He's actually lost several of them to kind of winters or disease.
That's rough.
But he has two remaining. Two of them are, what did I name them? Sigurd is his oldest boy, and he has a girl, Scully. Scully? Thor, you can correct me if I'm saying he's terribly. Or
Scully.
actually, no, Sigurd
You know.
and. Oh, sorry, I read this wrong. Mjol is his living daughter, and then a third.
Very close.
Scully was one that was lost a couple years back. So he's trying very, very hard to provide for those who are remaining, and hopefully to increase his family moving forward. So he like I said, he's a little older, not quite as young as he used to be, and with that age comes a certain perspective. He's very guarded with his words. He doesn't. He tries not to speak. He tries not to be inflammatory in his speech. He is very conscious that words carry weight, and the wrong word said for or against the person can have drastic consequences. So he chooses his words very carefully. He tries not to get involved in a situation unless he feels like he must, both or either to protect his honor or to provide for his family. So as he is not as young as he used to be, he has +0 young, but he very much fills the role in society that is expected of him. So +2 gendered. And he is not very lucky at all, as evidenced by the children that he's lost in prior years. So he's at -1 weird. He has a relationship with Baldur. Baldur is his elder. I think Baldur is everyone's elder in this village at this point, which actually works nicely to Baldur's choice of the elder. And he has a distrust of Gyrni, and he believes this one will bring nothing but bad luck. So yeah, that's Grim. He's a quiet provider, kind of the silent protector of his family and his village.
All right.
That's where he's going.
Cool. What moves did you pick?
So you get, as the man, you get a number of moves for free, and you can't really choose anything except what your farmstead looks like. So as we are a coastal town, I have very obviously chosen seaside. It wouldn't make much sense not to pick that. But then on top of that, I mentioned previously that he spends a lot of time gathering lumber. He's basically half lumberjack, I guess full lumberjack. So in addition to the seaside, he has wilderness near his longhouse that allows him to go out and harvest wood throughout the year to keep him and his family and probably the rest of the town warm during the winters. So
Nice.
Okay. So you have 2 rolls to make because this is the beginning of the game for you, and it's
Yes.
the beginning of the session.
Yep.
And then before we even do any of that, I need everyone to mark down 1 bond with everyone you have a relationship with. And then check to make sure you have your checks beside certain relationships. Because remember, once you have 4 checks, you gain an advancement. And
So since I'm new, I don't have any checks, right?
if
I
you
think-
had any checks from before, they carry over.
Even if we play a new rulebook?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
I don't suppose Un's checks carry over, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, they do. I might have some
okay.
choices to make soon then.
Um,
Okay, so
let's
I
do
have to.
your husbandry roll first, because it's
Yep.
the beginning of the game.
Yep. So I roll 2d6 -1 cattle. Is that correct?
Yep, livestock.
Yep. Here we are, and I have 6 livestock.
Pretty decent roll.
Yep.
Very average.
And then the next one that I need to make is my gendered roll to see how much labor I can expend this session. Is
Yeah.
that correct? All right, here we go. Ooh,
Yeah, you hold that labor, man.
yeah. I am rocking
Nice.
it out. So Grim Ulfson apparently does very well in providing for his family and probably his entire farmstead this season. I'm not entirely sure how this labor roll actually works. Like if we're going to be skipping forward like every year or something, if he gets 1 roll, in which case I think everyone starves in that case. But
No, I mean, when it's your time, you have to spend it. Like when we're playing, if
Yeah.
you don't spend it, that's a problem for that season.
yeah,
But if we skip forward 10 years, it's not like, they all starved 9.5 years ago because we didn't make 10 rolls.
Grim
Yeah.
stopped working the fields.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just got too lazy and complacent.
So it appears that Grim has been very productive in the fields. And I guess I can spend that at some point in the game Is that correct?
Yeah.
Or do you need me to spend it now?
No, you spend it based on your farmstead roll.
Okay.
So what happens to the check mark if I